Hi, my name is Axel Vasquez, also known as Alien. I am the part owner, caster for AEL. I'm also a student, raver, athlete, and so many other hobbies that I can think of. And I guess this is my story. So, a little bit about my journey in esports casting. I would say it probably started before 2018, around 2018, 2019. I dabbled a little bit of just personal esports casting. Shortly after the pandemic, I got into casting severely for about a year or two, took a break. I actually just recently came back at the beginning of the calendar year casting for OCS. And honestly, it's been a beautiful journey, a lot of ups and downs. The one thing I really do enjoy about esports casting is that no matter what's going on in my personal life, being able to provide some sort of entertainment to those online and those around me is really what drives me in doing the esports casting today. So my first experience in casting was about almost 10 years ago, and I'm 26, so you can kind of imagine just how long ago that was. But I think one of the first memorable moments that I had in casting would be back in Genesis season one. We had no caster available, and me having previous experience casting, it's kind of where I started casting again in more modern times. I picked up the mantle, got on the cast booth, and that really just started the whole momentum of what I had going on a couple years ago. Casting for Genesis for 3 seasons, and a lot of success came out of it. I mean, it was a good time. It was a good first experience back into casting, and definitely one of the more memorable moments of casting so far. I think one of the main things I enjoy about casting for esports is proving people wrong. Being able to watch the streams or me watching old VODs of myself from back then, even more, even now, seeing all the critique that is thrown at me in contrast to everything I've heard so good about myself, and even all the things that I notice about other good. I think it's really one of the things I do enjoy myself is just a continuous evolvation of my casting, the continuous progression that I've been putting forth for the last couple of months, especially since coming back. I think that's what I really do enjoy casting about esports. Of course, meeting the people that I've met, the games that I've been able to cast, of memorable moments I've been able to be a part of, even all the players that I've had, one-on-one conversations with and how much they enjoy the fact that I was able to cast them. I think it's really just culminates to everything I enjoy about casting for esports. And when it comes to preparation for my casting sessions, it really just depends on how long of a cast I'm doing. If I'm doing 2 maps and very minimal preparation. I make sure that, of course, I make sure I make myself presentable, wear either a button-up shirt or a nice T-shirt. Now, of course, if it's like a best of three or even a grand finals, I'll take extra care. I'll make sure I go get my haircut done the night before, get my beard trimmed up, wear a suit or a shirt and tie. It really just depends on what kind of casting session I do, but overall, I make sure that I make myself presentable because at the end of the day, not only am I having to brand whatever league I'm participating in, but also I've got to brand myself as a person that is professional, that is ready to get things going. So one of my most memorable moments in my career has got to be the Genesis Season 3 Grand Final Best of 5. Most specifically, Map 4, I believe, is whatever map it was in Oregon, round number 1, where we had one player drop an ace within the first 90 seconds. And even though it wasn't necessarily one of my cleanest play-by-play moments, it was definitely one of those moments where it brought so much excitement. Coming off from the previous map, I think it was Chalet, the team that ended up winning that series steamrolled the team that I was mainly focusing on for round number 1, and it was impressive. It was shocking to see, to just witness somebody really just take the match by the throat and really cement the pace for what was to transpire in that fourth map in Oregon. That team ended up winning, I think, 7-1, 7-2. Of course, at the end of the day, they lost the series, but just overall, that map, that particular round, and I would even say that entire series is one of my most memorable moments of my career. Being able to be a part of, in my opinion, one of the greatest tier three, tier four grand finals that North America has seen, even to this day. I think it's memorable. It was one of the best experiences of my life. So I think one of the biggest challenges that I've had to face in my career, it really started before my reappearance at the beginning of 2024. Just a lot of the personal trials and tribulations I was having to go through, and then kind of seeking an outlet and being reached out to, provide that outlet, I think it really has brought a lot of focus in why I still cast. Being able to develop a new meaning, a new reasoning behind why I cast, what motivates me day in and day out, I think is one of the challenges that even outside of esports is something I've had to really tackle. It's just flourished in both my esports career, my personal life, school, my career with the job that I've got, and just my relationships that I've had so far with all my friends and family. I think that's really one of these challenges that I think transcends just about every avenue of my life. And I think being able to tackle it face on and really putting my faith in, in my trust in not only my friends and family, but also my beliefs with God and Jesus Christ. I think it really just embodies that nothing really is impossible, that you can really, go over whatever mountain life throws at you. So when it comes to identifying who in the esports community has been a big inspiration for me, I think it comes down to three names. Of course, everybody in the community inspires me one way or another. But in the early years of my casting, I really would say just the way that Kix handled himself, with the players, with the way he, told the story, and the amount of memorable moments he had throughout his entire career. I think is an inspiration to everybody, whether or not you were serious in casting or just wanted to even take part of how professional he was in every aspect of his life. I think he really brings an inspiration to a lot of young men who may not have had somebody, a male figure in their life that really could have brought that inspiration. And so I think the early stages, even now, I still take a lot from what Kicks did, and each and every day I try and find new ways to be inventive, trying to be very spoken, very outspoken in what I want to say, and in the cast or even on the day to day. But in a more recent times, I think Ace and Dez, those two guys, really also has inspired me to kind of continuously evolve and continuously mature. Looking at them and just seeing how much they have progressed, how much that they have improved, especially. I think those three guys really bring in a lot of inspiration for me. They really inspire me to continue to get better and continue to defy the odds. So I started off casting Siege. I, truth be told, have not even moved on from Siege. But with that being said, there's a lot of games out there that I would love to be able to get into. I think Call of Duty, Overwatch, Rocket League, especially, are the three main games, in my opinion, that I want to get into. Call of Duty, it's one of those shooters that I grew up playing as a young buck. Overwatch is definitely one of the games that I've definitely grown to love, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. And then of course, Rocket League, being somebody who has played soccer, who has even played FIFA at a professional level, being able to cast Rocket League, I think would bring a lot of interest for me. It's one of those games that even though I don't necessarily understand 100%, it is a game that I continuously watch, and I think those three games would be the three games I would love to get into outside of Siege. But even then, Siege has had my heart for 8 years, 8 9 years now, from a competitive player to a casual player to now an esports caster. So one advice I would give to anybody getting into esports casting, or even regular sports casting, sports commentary, is to don't be afraid to be yourself. Of course, there's limitations to how much you can show just because of the landscape that the landscape that we all work in. We all have to kind of have like a public image, and we've got to make sure that we don't necessarily bring any harm to any sort of community. So I think just being yourself, being respectful, and just don't be afraid. Really put yourself out there. I mean, coming from a guy who's very social anxious, who's very much of an introvert, who really does struggle to speak to people on a personal level, face to face, on a day to day basis. Getting into casting has really opened myself up, has made myself become a little more extroverted. I'm able to talk to people a lot more casually, not necessarily stutter as much as I do. I still have to stutter, yes, but I think esports casting, getting into it, especially if you're an introvert, especially if you're somebody who likes to be a little more closed off, really would open the doors to not only meeting wonderful people, but to be able to truly express yourself in your artistic values. I think when it comes to handling the pressure and expectations I have for myself and what is being placed on me when it comes to every live broadcast is, truth be told, I don't necessarily experience it. Understanding the position that I have and what I've done in my career so far really does maintain myself, and I maintain myself at a high level. by ensuring that I meet my expectations, which at times can be higher to what I'm being told. I think it allows me to be able to be myself and being confident in what I can and will do and what I will accomplish. You know, it necessarily, if I had to say how I handle it, is just by maintaining my cool, understanding that I will make mistakes, I will slip up here and there, but ensuring that I have the expectation of myself to always overcome whatever hurdle is thrown at me and whatever situation I'm placed in really is the way that I handle my day to day, especially in live broadcasting. Think the last or my favorite event casting so far would probably be the last grand final I casted and the next one that is to come. I think whenever you're placed in a position to cast a grand final, whether it's a best of three, a best of five, no matter what level you're in, casting a grand final, I think should be the standard that everybody should be striving for, what should be everybody's favorite. And of course, when it comes, emotions will be applied, leading up to that moment is also going to be applied. And I think for me personally, the last grand final I casted did bring a little bit of sweetness to it. There's a lot of other events that I've been able to be a part of, both online as well as on land. But I think the next grand final I am able to cast, I think will be my next favorite one, just because it continues to show the consistency and the level that I maintain for not just myself but for those around me, and always being able to showcase the best that there is, especially with the best two teams in whatever league we might be playing in, is what really drives me to continue going forward. Well, I'm a guy of many talents. I'm a guy of many interests. As you can tell, I've got a CDJ controller. I've also got, anime stuff. I've got a Pokemon. Of course, scars from sports teams. I love sports. I love going to the gym. I love attending sports events. I love, mixing music. I love going to live music. I honestly just love a lot of things, whether it's a Friday night at a bar with some friends or on a Saturday night at a random state, you know, walking around a festival venue. It really, I don't have any limitations, honestly, what hobbies I love doing outside of esports. Of course, I love esports. I love casting. I love, gaming. But I think, music, anime, sports, going to the gym really would be like the top four, 3 to 4 hobbies that I've got. And I've got many more coming up, but that really is all there is to me. I think when it comes to the evolution of the aspect of esports casting, it really just ties in with the entire esports genre and esports career, esports landscape. As long as there's players, the community, most importantly, invested in esports events, esports venues, and just the overall glamour that is of the esports job field. I think the casting side of it, the production side of it, will continue to grow. You know, Me personally, I think we should be, the esports career, the esports landscape in general should be striving to meet the levels of traditional sports broadcasting, traditional sports, ideals and morals to an extent, yes. But at the same time, esports brings in this sort of level of diversity, this sort of level of, difference when it comes to just who all is participating in it, through all walks of life, whether you're somebody who goes to the gym consistently or somebody who, you know, painted murals throughout high school. It really just brings in this inclusion. And when it comes to esports casting, it is the same way. No matter who you are, how you look, or the walk of life you may have walked to up to that point. I think as long as we're maintaining inclusion and maintaining this, strive for greatness and the strive for growing and bettering not just ourselves but to those around us, the sky's the limit for the esport, world. When it comes to events that I can possibly cast in my life, or hopefully I'm able to cast in my life, I think it'll come down to, 2 or 3 different events. Esports wise, I think casting an R6 major and of course the sixth invitation would be a dream come true. But also knowing that I'm actively studying, actively wanting to get into sports broadcasting, sports commentary myself, I think casting a Champions League final over in Europe or the FIFA World Cup, I think will be 2 events in my opinion, that would really, put a cherry on top of what I want to achieve. Now, of course, I've got personal ones. Casting a Liverpool football club game or a Real Madrid game would be ideal as well. But realistically, those 4 major events would be the ones that I can hope and I can achieve. I think when it comes to something that most people don't know, or maybe it is common, but at least for me, that I've noticed is the amount of preparation work there is to it. Whether it's from the production side, ensuring that we've got the staffing for it, but even as a caster, the preparation for it. If you're participating in a league that has been around for a long time, you've been in the sphere for a long time, understanding and knowing these teams, understanding knowing the players, at a level that brings in the sort of information you can bring into whatever matchup you're casting is one of the most stressful things, in my opinion, that I've got to go through is understanding who we're playing and just understanding a little bit about their history, a little bit about the win percentages in certain maps, or what the weakest maps are, what the best maps are in a given league, as well as preferred operators for these players, even these teams as a whole, is one of those things that I think most people don't realize just how stressful it is. But it's one of the things that I enjoy doing sometimes. I've had about 5, 6 notebooks across my career that I've filled up with just notes on notes about teams, games that I've casted, grand finals that I've cast, and just overall, little trinkets of what it is to be a caster. It's just the amount of information you've got to ensure you have. Well, that was a lot of fun to do. I want to, first make a major shout out to Zodiac for setting this up for not just myself, but for a lot of the other casters here in AEL. You can find me on the AEL Discord, or you can reach out to me on Discord privately as well. You can also find me on Twitter at AlienCast, as well as on Twitch at It's Alien Official. While I may not have a consistent stream schedule, they're at least more consistent than the Cowboys in the playoffs. Once again, go Fins, go Inter Miami, go Liverpool, go Real Madrid, and if you don't like what you see, exit stage left, I guess.